Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. So as promised, today we are going to be doing the full face look, or mostly full face look, using makeup from the new MAC holiday release. The reason I say almost all is because obviously they didn't put out a foundation or anything like that, so I'm still going to be using just foundations that I have already. But for the most part, we're going to be just using stuff from this collection. So you guys can see I've got some major breakout going on all over my chin. Also, if I still sound a little bit like congested, that cold that I was starting to get when I filmed like my collection haul video turned into a full-blown thing that I had all of last week. Like, it was just brutal, and I may or may not have passed it to some people at work, but we can't prove that it stemmed from me, so I'm gonna plead the fifth. But yeah, it's that cold has got legs. It is that time of the year, it's that time of season, so if you are starting to feel like congested or anything like that, like, get on it quick. I wish I had like nipped it quicker than I did, because I can remember the night I started feeling it and I was like, oh, that's weird, like, whatever. And then it just like got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting. All I've got on my face so far is just a moisturizer, a primer, and then a lid primer, just so that we could kind of get rolling with this. I thought about doing my foundation just to save a step here, but ultimately I do like to normally do my eyes before I do my foundation, just in case I screw up at all. So I'm doing it the way that I would normally do it at home. And you guys can just kind of sit and watch, and if I decide this video is too long, maybe I'll just cut the foundation routine out. So the palette that I decided I'm going to play with today for eyes is I wanted to play with this. The brush just fell out, no big deal. This red one, this is the MAC Shiny Pretty Things Eye Party in Rose. There was also a smoky one, which was more blues and stuff. But I had said the day that I filmed the video, I planned on using this palette, so I kind of wanted to stick with my original plan and try this one out. And if you guys end up wanting to see the other one, you can just let me know. So we're going to take this color here, which I'm assuming is in Little Drummer Bay, and we're going to use that for an all over the lid color. This stuff is falling out quite a bit. I'll get closer. I was going to say like zoom, but ultimately it just means me rolling closer to my camera on my chair, which is whatever. So just sort of use that as an all over the lid, kind of set the primer and get ready to lay some other fun colors down. Just like that. I've got a couple of the single shadows here as well, just in case ultimately I do decide to go that way. But I literally woke up and just decided I was going to film for you guys. So this concept is going to kind of come out of nowhere. I haven't thought it through at all. We're just going to kind of go with it. So I think we're going to take this color here, this third one in. It's in Tea Dust. And I'm going to use that to sort of start to darken the crease up. And I'm going to do it all the way from, do you guys see, inner to outer corner? And it's just a light. So it's darker than obviously what I laid down before, but it's light in comparison to like what I'm planning on putting in my crease, just to kind of give it a little bit of depth. My nose is so red. I'm looking at it right now. I still look a hot mess, so I do apologize for that. And this camera is not being the most flattering right now, but whatever. So this brush is just a little wider at the top. It kind of allows me just to get a little higher than I would with a more precision crease brush, just so I can start to lift that color a little bit. I think I went a little high, but that'll get fixed later when I add like concealer and foundation and stuff. I can kind of touch that up. That's the other reason I do like to do my eyeshadow first, is that I find that if I go too far outside where I'd plan to go or where I'm really comfortable, I can kind of cover it up a little bit with some concealer or foundation. And then if I go too far, I can add a little more eyeshadow and just kind of play that back and forth game until I'm happy with what it looks like. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. That eye turned out a little bit better than that eye, but that's okay. I'll add a little bit more here because I think I went too far. I'm wondering if I picked up the wrong color by accident, because that eye oh no, they look pretty same. All right, never mind. Just talking about nonsense here. If I were a crease brush, where would I be? See, knowing I was going to film today, you would think I would have been like a lot more prepared and like set out all my stuff, but whatever. Someone knocked on the door literally right as I was about to do this, and I was like, oh, I gotta go get the door, and yeah, it kind of screwed with my head. We're gonna go in with some of this pinky kind of color. It is in the shade Winter Rose. And I'm gonna use that. I don't normally play with a lot of pinks on my eyes, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this palette. It's a lot more likely that I would wear the blues out of the other palette, just for personal preference, but I do normally stick to neutral kind of tones. So this is going slightly outside my comfort zone without going too far outside my comfort zone. Also, oftentimes when I use pinks and reds on my eyes, sometimes it makes me feel like it looks like my eyes are super red or whatever, whereas blues and stuff, they're bold, but because my eyes are blue, green, whatever you want to call it, it sort of goes. I don't know. It's just a personal thing. Sometimes I just feel like it makes me look more sickly. I can see how like rough I'm looking right now though. And it makes me kind of wish that I had waited to film this, but whatever. Hopefully once I add makeup to my face, it'll tone down a little bit. So I've got the pink going pretty much all the way across again, which I hadn't full intended. You can see it. It isn't the most pigmented, but it still works. Like so far with this palette compared to the ones from last year, I am much, much happier with this quality. The ones last year were just nothing special. They were just lacking in pretty much everything. They were nothing special. The colors were nothing amazing. Like I'm much happier with this year. So now we're going to go in with this color, the second color here. It's kind of that purpley tone. It's in Sunday Plum. This is where you can kind of tell how palettes are, is how the darks do. And I'm going to use that to deepen just the outer corner. So I kind of start going in up a little bit, about a third, and then I drag down to, and you'll notice like I only put any eyeshadow on the brush for the initial wave, and then I kind of just work what I have into where I want it. That way I'm not putting too much on, it's not getting overpowering. You know? Okay. Just kind of like that. Now, I was originally thinking of adding a darker color, but I don't think I'm going to. I kind of like that it's all different shades of purples and reds and stuff. We are going to try and use a little bit of that shimmery red in about 2 seconds, but I just dropped one in the shadows. Not a big deal. I'm trying to see. I think this is the one I wanted. This is Enjoy To, and it's the one that kind of has a more purpley fleck to it. I do want to try and put this on my eye and kind of see how it goes. I've seen a lot of videos of people using it, so I'm curious. I want to put it kind of more in the middle, and then we're going to put some of that, whoa, hello glitter, some of that red on the outer side. Just a touch, though, because I don't want it to be too overpowering, if you know what I mean. What I should have actually done, no, we're going to keep going with this. I'm actually really surprised at how well, whoa, that put on with a brush, because normally shadows like this only really work well with a wet brush or with your finger, and this is a completely dry, clean brush. So wow, these shadows are freaking awesome. These are the Shiny Pretty shadows that came out in the collection. So there were 5. I think that I've only got 4 because the other one was like an online exclusive and it was taking forever to launch. Now, a couple of the things, I meant to do this earlier. I had told you guys I was going to get the rest from the online exclusives. I've gotten 2 things, and that is the bright pink lip gloss and the bright pink lipstick. I'm not going to be wearing either of these today, but I did want to, oh God, I just took a huge chunk out of it. That's really, really annoying. I hate it when I do that. That's fine. But I did want to show you what they look like just so that you guys are aware of their existence. You can get them online. Just pop them away. I was planning on using a couple other ones from the set today. Okay. Now I am going to try. See, I really like the way this looks. I'm wondering if the red's going to be too much. It probably is, but we're going to do just like a little bit of it anyway. I'm not going to take too much of it because I don't want to overwhelm this whole thing. Okay, I'm going to need more than that. Maybe I'll do the red underneath as well. Okay, so do you guys see a little bit of the red? It's not a lot because I really liked the way that this looked without the red. So I'm just trying to keep it to the very outer corner and up into the crease a little bit. Just like that. Just a little itty bit. Not a ton though, because like I said, I was pretty happy with the way that this was looking. I am going to just blend some of that. I'm much happier with the way that this eye looks than the way that this eye looks, and I think that's because I went so far outside, but like I said, that is something that I can remedy in about 2 steps. So now we're going to do some liner. This collection, should stop talking to you guys with my back to you. Came with 5 liners. I only have 3 right now. So there's the black, the silver, and this like champagne-y rose kind of color. I think we're going to go with the black. I just think that both of these won't exactly go with this look. I got to stop dropping crap. One of those days. So I'm not normally good with these kind of liners, so we'll give this a shot. And I do have just a normal black liner if this all goes to heck. So I'm trying to, all right, I'll try and do it into the camera and see how this goes. Not bad. Really bad. Okay. You know what? Okay. Well, the good thing about these, unlike felt liners, I guess, which I normally use, is that, like, if you get to it quick enough while they're still wet, you can wipe them off pretty easily. It sucks because I want to use my mirror to do this, and I think I'm higher than normal. Yeah, I am. But I want you guys to see what I'm doing also, and I can't do both. Stay. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Someone's car alarm is going off outside. I'm not the biggest fan of this formula, but it's a personal thing. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It is just like a liquid eyeshadow. But for me, I just prefer the way that the felt tips go on. These are obviously going to take a lot longer to dry, which is a pain in the butt. It kind of stings my eye also. I don't know why that is. That's probably just a me thing. So I prefer like either gel pot liners, which I haven't used in a while. I should actually get back into that. And I just find I have more control with the felt tip liners because I can hold it closer to the tip. Whereas with this, yeah, I'm kind of holding it far away. I don't have so much control over how thick or whatever the line is going to be. I don't know, just personal preference. These aren't my favorite. They're fun because they're sparkly. Do you guys see there's a little sparkle in them? They're fun colors. And of course they work. Like, that's actually a lot blacker than I thought it was going to be. I remember swatching it and being like, okay, it's more of like a gray with glitter. But ultimately now it's on my eyes. It is very black. So that's a pleasant surprise. But for me personally, I can already just tell that I'm going to get annoyed with them. Having said that, I obviously have them and I'll probably continue using them. But that's my gripe. I complain about stuff and then I don't do anything to remedy my situation. So now we're going to get into foundation. While I try and let that dry. For foundation today, I'm going to do a mix of my MAC Next to Nothing, my MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation, and also a little bit of my Cover FX Custom Enhancing, what are these called? Drops in Blossom. That's just to give it a little bit of sheen, just because the eyeshadow look is so sparkly. I think it would look silly with just a matte makeup look. And I always like to add a little bit of shine. I like the dewy look. It's just a personal preference. So I just take a little bit of the two and mix them together. And then I'm going to take a drop or two of this and add it as well, just for a little shine. I'll show you what this looks like before I blend it all together. Do you see that? How it's got the 3 different ones in it? And then I just take my brush. For me, when I do foundation, I use a brush. I don't like using a beauty blender. So I've got a MAC 141S brush, which I used to think stood for short, and I came to find out it actually stands for synthetic. And I'm just going to put that all on. Now this is looking a little bit... Oh, I remember now why my face... Okay. Stupid thing. I went tanning yesterday and I burnt my face, and that's why my nose and stuff is so red. So that's why this red looks so intense today, because my face is much more red than it normally is. That's the reason, now that I really think about it, which is really funny. So I was sitting here being like, I'm not that sick anymore. Why is my nose so red? So do you see what I mean by, like, I can kind of reshape the look of the eyes by just like putting foundation around them? So, and I always make sure that I do put foundation down in here, because if you don't, you end up like having different color under your eyebrows than you've just made the rest of your face. And this one was very different than my face color because I was so red right now. I'm normally not that red underneath. I normally carry more neutral undertones, but obviously not today. And I always take it up my ear too, just again, for the same reason, because sometimes too, I do use bronzer in my foundation. Like I'll use a liquid bronzer. So if I cut it off here, it becomes very, very obvious. And then same thing, I put it down my neck, into my chest, and kind of just blend it here. And then I'm also very careful to kind of, like, it sounds stupid, but I also put it around the back a little bit, especially because my hair is up. If my hair was down, I wouldn't be so concerned with it. But because my hair is up, if, again, I'm cutting a line off right here, it looks really, really silly and very, like, it's obvious I have makeup on, but I don't want to make it that obvious that I have makeup on, if that makes any sense to anybody. Anyway, so now that is on, we're going to throw some concealer on. So for today, I'm going to be using my MAC Pro Longwear concealer. I don't use this all the time because I'm not a fan of the pump on it, but it is like super, super good concealer. So I'm just going to dot it there and there. And definitely down here where I'm breaking out like a crazy person. I also like to put a little bit under my nose because I find that like it breaks color there, and I always put a little here as well. So then while I let that start to tack down, because I find that when you do it right after you put it on and it's still very, very wet, you're just moving it around. You're not really getting it to stay down. So if I wait for it to get a little bit tacky first, normally works better. So while I wait for that, I am going to do my eyebrows. This is a new eyebrow product to me. I'm a mess. Hold on. Okay, so this is the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint. Okay, so on one end, it's got this like sponge with just color in it. And on the other end, it's got a felt tip marker for doing your brows. So I haven't used this too much, so I'm going to try it today. So what I'm going to do is just fill in the majority of the shape of my brows with the powder end, because mine are kind of sparse and whatever, but and then when I get closer to the ends, oh, I always forget that this end screws on. It doesn't like snap on. I'm going to use the felt liner. Also, the sun's kind of moving on me, so hopefully I'm not in too much shadow. And then I kind of just use this in like small flecks to draw like almost little hairs in. I just find that this looks a lot more natural. Now, I've got a thing where this eyebrow comes a lot further inwards than this one, but whenever I try and like draw this one in, it kind of looks stupid, so I'm going to leave it as is. So just like that, just super quick and easy. Because my brows are so blonde, I don't have to put a ton in them to make them fill out. Just a little bit. The last thing that I do like to do is just take a spoolie and just kind of give it a quick go. It kind of spreads out some of the product a little bit, makes it look a little bit more uniform. So now that that's started to tack down underneath, I do have a damp beauty blender, and we're just kind of gonna take it and press it. So I'm not dragging it, like I'm not like swiping and dragging, I'm just patting it down. This all probably seems like you're probably watching this being like, duh, everybody does that, but I never really film myself doing makeup. Like I do sometimes when I play with new products and stuff, but even then it's not normally full faces, or it's fun full faces, and I don't talk about the way that I actually do things, like the actual technique. That's why I'm talking about it now. So sorry if you don't care, but whatever. And that's what I mean about, like, that's the final bit of shaping up and around my eyes that I do, is I like to bring it up and around just so that whatever shape I want my eyeshadow to end up in, it does. And I'm much happier with the way that it looks now that I've got the foundation and the concealer and stuff on than I was with it before. So now we're going to set it down. For setting powder, I'm just going to play safe. I'm going to use my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, which I'm almost out of, but I've already got a backup. I bought it with my like VIB Rouge 20% off or whatever it was. So just pick up a bunch of that and put it in pretty much all the places that I had any kind of like foundation. So everywhere pretty much. I used to only do this where I had concealer, but then sometimes when I put bronzer on, if the foundation hadn't set all the way, it ended up kind of forming like almost like a muddy consistency, which was super unappealing. And also, like, I don't know, I'm a big fan of doing makeup so it looks like you're not really wearing a ton of makeup. Like obviously I've got a ton on my eyes, but like in terms of foundation and stuff, I don't want it to be super obvious that I have a ton of foundation or concealer or anything like that on. So I would rather it not muddy up. Also, that sun is starting to come out. Like I didn't think it would be sunny at all today. So I was like, oh sweet, I can film kind of on an overcast day, and now the sun is like shifting. Can you see like all the shadow on my face? Oh wow, I might be able to turn this off. Is that better or worse? I don't know. We're going to kind of go with this for a little bit just because that was a lot of light coming at me. This is all natural light right now. Like if I turn this back on, whatever. It's just a little bit of like non-natural, artificial. I'm like, what's non-natural light called? Okay, so now we're going to do bronzer. For that, I do have the two face kits here. I don't know. I bought the light one and I also bought the medium dark one, which I think is going to be too dark. So for now, we're going to play in the light one. This is the bronzer that came with it. And then this is the darker one. That bronzer just looks so deep. Oh, why, son? Why you do this to me? Okay, you know what? I'll be right back. Okay, so the sun decided to move and shine like right in my eye. So I closed like half the curtains where the sun was. And then I turned back the artificial light on. So if it looks a little bit more yellowy or orangey, that's why. But it was driving me nuts. Anyway, we're going to use the one out of the light kit. I think it is called, I can't even see now. 5 Alarm Kiss. I'm going to pick some of that up. And if this one ultimately ends up being not dark enough, I can't see. Everything's spotty right now because I just blinded myself with the sun. See, I'm kind of torn because this one is so light and that one is so dark that like I honestly don't know if either of them are really going to work for me. Like I just feel like nothing's happening. I'm going to try a little bit of this darker one and just see if it's doable. I can't even see right now. Hold on. I got to adjust my light back. Alrighty, so I shifted some lights around again. I'm just trying to see if like either of them are showing up at all, because it might just be like sometimes when you get a new product, there's like a layer on the top of it that makes it really, really difficult to get working. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I've been going back and forth between the light one and the dark one, and ultimately the dark one's actually not too dark for me. It looks super dark in the pan though, but it actually might be better. I don't know that either of them are really doing anything. Like, I maybe a little bit, like, I guess I've bronzed up, I've warmed up a little bit. I can just see it in comparison to, like, my neck and stuff. So I will drag it down because I've got a wide open front of my shirt right now. So not like open, like I have a tank top on, but obviously all my neck showing. So I do want it to like be even-ish. I'm gonna go in with some of that lighter one again and just fill in. So I think that that's ultimately the way that I'm gonna have to do this if I want to use these palettes, is almost in conjunction with each other, where I use the dark one to kind of do the outside and down, and then I fill in all the space between with the lighter shade, because if I do the dark one only, I think it's too dark, and if I do the light one only, I think it's too light. Anywho, we're gonna call that done. For blush, we're gonna play with the one out of the light palette. Well, let's do the one out of the light palette. So we're going to do, what is you called? Oh, the dark bronzer, by the way, is called Quick Trip. So this blush is called Sweater Weather. I'm going to just pick up a bunch of that. So that works pretty well. That's good. I'm kind of weird with blush. Like, I like blush, but I don't like to look like I'm wearing a ton of blush. I don't know. I'm weird with it. Anywho, now we just have to do highlight. My brush is missing. Hold on. Okay, so for this part, there are 4 highlighters I could technically choose from. We could go with one of the ones in the palette, so there's 2 there, but this collection also came out with 2 individual ones. Now, one is Oh Darling, which is this one, which is just a normal color in their collection, this stick here. So I'm actually not going to play with that one just because I've already had it for a long time. But then this one is in Snow Flushed, and it is just so freaking pretty. I kind of am really tempted to try this one on my cheeks, and then we'll do this light one down my nose and stuff. So the light one is called no, that's the palette name, String Lights. So I've just got like a little brush that I'm just gonna take it down my nose with. So it is working quite well. I mean, the highlight is an extra dimension highlight, and those are their best ones. So I'm just gonna use that kind of down my nose and in my Cupid's bow. And then I kind of want to see what the Snow Flushed one looks like if I go up my cheekbones with it. This one I've seen videos of, and it looks super, super intense. Showing up at all is the real question. I don't even know if it's showing up. Oh yeah, it is. Do you see that a little bit? So it's not, oh, it is intense. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it as much as I can see it, just because I can see it better in the mirror than in the camera. But it's got like a lot of pink reflect glitter in it and stuff like that. It is really pretty. I am going to go over it a little bit with the string lights just because I like a more intense glow personally. So if I double up, then I double up, and that's not a bad thing. So last couple steps. So really quickly, I'm going to put on mascara, and then we're going to add a lip, and then we'll call that done, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about how I felt about the collection as a whole. Alrighty, so mascara's on. I used a quick layer of Benefit's Roller Lash, and then I did Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara on top of that. I know originally I said I was going to drag some of that red underneath, but honestly, I'm really happy with the way this looks. And because all I'm doing today is going to the mall with my dad to pick up Tom's birthday present, and then to my parents' house to help start like cleaning up for Christmas. I know it's only November, but I have to work a ton during December, so I'm not going to be able to get home. Because I'm only doing that, I don't want that super intense red. For lip color today, we're going to be using a Wink of Pink. This is a Frost. And because my hair's up, I'm actually pretty comfortable putting on a lip gloss today. So I'm going to put on this one. This is an Ice Orchid, and this is the one that I think goes with this one the best. Probably completely unnecessary because it was already pretty sparkly on its own. But whatever, now it's done. So all that's left to do is to set my face. So to set it today, what do I feel like using? Let's use, sure, we'll use this one. So this is my, you know what I wanted to see about this actually is how long it's good for. Do setting sprays have expiration dates? I'm sure they do, and I just don't know. Here we go. I can't remember when I bought this, but we'll use it and hopefully it'll be okay. So that's my Marc Jacobs Recover Perfecting Coconut Mist Setting Spray. The thing I love about this is how fine the mister is. Where doesn't taste very good. Or sometimes with the other ones, I find that I spray it and it like just shoots a jet of it right at my face, which is not ideal. But yeah, so that's going to be called done for today. So how do I feel about all the products? The lipsticks and the lip glosses, obviously pretty good. Things that I was pleasantly surprised about, the eyeliner, I didn't think was going to go on as black as it did. Now that it's dried down, you can see the sparkle in it. So I didn't think that was going to happen. That single shadow, the To Joy shadow is freaking beautiful. I really, really like those shadows. Definitely go get them if they're still available, which I'm sure they are. They are freaking awesome. The palette also had a lot more pigmentation than the palettes last year, so that is a good plus as well. The colors are a lot more fun too, which is what you want at this time of year, and this whole collection is about colors and fun. Some of my low points were probably trying to get the bronzers to work. Now, ultimately, I can see that they worked, and I don't know if it was just because I was kind of sunblind for a minute that I couldn't see it going on. But now that I'm done, I can see that it did play off, but it wasn't as drastic as I think I thought it would be, which is probably a good thing because this dark one is so dark that if it were that drastic, it would have been too much for me. But then again, the light one's too light for me. I don't know. The blush worked out well. The highlight worked out well. Overall, I am really, really excited about this collection. So it's definitely still available online and probably in stores as well. So if you haven't picked this up yet, maybe this persuaded you to do so a little bit more. Like I said, if you want to see me play with the other palette from this collection, let me know. A couple fun Christmassy New Year's videos this year of me doing makeup. I have a huge chunk of time off right before Christmas, so I'm going to try and film a ton during then for you guys as well. Yeah, so that's going to be everything. So if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.